Sometimes you have an opportunity to look it over again and, I don't know, find different things, or have you had a chance to go over it? And what do you say the morning after?
We follow our process, whether we've won a game or lost a game. We're pretty consistent in what we do as a coaching staff, and went through that game with a fine-tooth comb, and obviously there's areas of improvement to work on, and there was some good stuff as well. Again, we found ourselves in a 2-2 hockey game going into the third period. Probably not the way we wanted to get there, but we were in that position. I saw us have a 2-on-1 and a 3-on-2 early in the third period. We were unable to convert, and we made a big error and ended up in the back of our net, and that came off of a rush.
So talk to us about the big error. When a younger player makes a big error, you don't usually see guys get benched for the rest of the game always. Sometimes you do. Last night you did. Mm-hmm. But how do you coaches process all that, and, to teach but not punish? But how do you do that?
Yeah, you know what? I think you're talking Bush there. Yeah. I think with Bush, when that play was made, it was about the last 10 minutes or so in the game. I don't know the exact. 13 minutes. Yeah. At that point, I think what did he finish with? About 16, 17 minutes in the game. I think he was tracking to what a normal game for him would be, if not a little bit more. I think in that play, it's not on one person. I didn't think that play's on one person. But saying that, we're trying to win a game in the moment. And, I thought we had a few looks as that period went on. Obviously, Holloway made that great play to Nugent Hopkins. Their goaltender made a save. We had a couple other looks. We didn't get it done last night. And for me, balancing like those big moments and whatnot, I think there's teachable moments and growth moments, and that's what you hope for, especially for younger guys, is to learn from those moments and get better as you move forward.
Sometimes young guys make mistakes, and the messaging is they're right back out there because you want to display that confidence. Other times we see like what happened last night. What's kind of the difference maybe in that messaging?
Well, I think for me, I think our messaging has been quite consistent right off the bat, which is that we want to make sure that we're pushing people to be the best that they can be. I think different people respond to different stimulus. I think the way we try and work as a coaching staff is to go through a sequence of events. So, if something happens, early in a game, obviously you're not going to sit somebody for a whole game, but they might sit for a little bit just to get the message. I think if it's towards the end of the game, you feel that out. I think also you take in mind, different points along the way that influence that. And I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big believer in sequence of events. Our coaching staff is a big believer in sequence of events. And the biggest thing is that we want growth, and not growth just from one person. We want growth from all 23 people. We thought there was a moment that we could collectively be better in. We didn't find it last night.
Does an offensive defenseman like Bush, there's some points in the game where he hesitates. Like you want to screen, you're an offense, just take the puck and go with it. It's supposed to get to the red line and says, okay, now what am I doing with it? You get caught in between.
Yeah, I mean, Evan's first of all, he's a good young hockey player, but the operative word there is young. So I don't think he's anywhere close to being a finished product. I think there's moments in this early stage in his career that are going to make him better longer term. He's not the only guy. He's not the only guy that had an error last night. Nobody is perfect on our team. He's a big part of our decor. And for me, his confidence comes from defending well first, and then, like you said, getting his offense going by getting his puck on net without hesitation. And he's had some really good moments here over the last couple weeks, and that's what we focus on. Certainly, we try and use teachable moments to get better, but also we try and catch our players doing things properly and seeing them with positive eyes as well.
Does a young player know, as opposed to a veteran player, okay, that was my mistake, or do you have to tell that player?
I think with what our coaching staff tries to get across, we don't leave much room for gray area. Yeah, I think we're very clear in what our messaging is on a day in, day out basis. So no, I don't think there's a lack of understanding. But this is the interesting thing about hockey is it's a game of mistakes. The best players in the world make mistakes, and at the end of the day, you want your team to make less than the other team, and you want to make sure that when the other team does make a mistake, you capitalize on it.
So what temptation does a coach have when you're down by 1 goal and you scored a goal with 4 seconds left a couple of games before, to put them on the ice in that last 30 seconds
you think
with Bouchard?
You think about that for sure. All that stuff goes into the equation for sure.
What was the message, and do you think he got it?
What was the message? I think the message was that the critical error can't happen, and not in a 2-2 hockey game. For me, again, it's not just on one person. If you trace that play back, there's a few things that happen there. But as I said, there's a lot of times what goes into decision making, especially in the moment, is not emotion. It's the sequence of events that led up to it.
With regards to team defense, is that a concern of yours, especially when you see the number of shots that you allowed last night?
Yeah. Did you compare the even strength shots? I thought they were quite similar. Very similar.
23-20 in the first.
Yeah, but if you actually look at the full game and what on net even strength shots were, they were quite even. The biggest difference was in their power play. They had 3 power plays, and they had a lot of good looks and shot attempts off of that.
I know that can be a misleading stat sometimes.
And so for me, I look at chances. That's how we go. Were we happy with what we gave up last night? No, you're never happy when you give up 50 shots on net. We're working our way through some injuries. We're working our way through a tough point in our schedule, and we're not alone in doing that. Those aren't excuses. But last night, was that up to par or what our standard is? No. We have better. We know it, and we're focused on resting up and getting our energies up so that we can play a good game tomorrow against Arizona.
So your rationale now with Jack, obviously Stu's playing good. Do you just keep riding Stu? Or do you say to Jack, okay, you can work all you want in practice, but eventually you're going to take that from the practice into some games?
Are you trying to get me to tell you who the starter is tomorrow?
We know who the starter is tomorrow. He just faced 50 shots.
Oh, here, you stand here, and I'll ask you the questions then. What's the process? Your question was about Jack Campbell? Yeah. I think Jack is working his tail off to earn the right to feel good, and that starts on the practice rink, and that's why he was out there today working his game.
What about Zach Hyman? Think he'll play tomorrow?
I thought it was a really good sign to see him on the ice, and I haven't talked to the doctors yet or trainers, but I thought it was a really good sign that he was on the ice today.